So today we're formally submitting our private member's motion on the extension of the ban on evictions. It's a very simple and very straightforward motion. It has four asks of the government. One obviously is to extend the emergency ban on evictions, as we've been calling for some time. The second and third asks are to put in place a series of emergency measures, again as we asked the government to do last year, both to reduce the number of people becoming homeless in the emergency period, and also obviously to try and increase and accelerate the delivery of an additional volume of social affordable housing. And then crucially, I suppose, we're making the broader point that at the core of this crisis is the government's failure year after year to deliver a sufficient volume of social affordable homes. As you know, Eoin Ó Broin has admitted that yet again he's missed his social housing targets last year, and he hasn't even given us the information on his affordable housing targets, which suggests that they will have been missed by an even bigger amount. We're urging all TDs, and particularly those independents and government backbenchers who we know support us on this issue, to vote with us. There still is an opportunity in the 2 weeks of the Dáil sitting for the government to bring in their own legislation and extend this ban. It is patently clear that the government has no plan in place whatsoever to deal with what the Residential Tenancies Board are telling us are 3,000 eviction notices that will fall due in April, and that's before we even start counting those that will fall due in May or June. And to work with us to put pressure on government to reverse this decision. Micheál Martin and Leo Varadkar are, as you know, away at the moment, and I'm making a personal call to them. What are you saying to the families? What are you saying to the single people, the couples, the parents with children and the pensioners who will have no place to go come the 1st of April? What is your advice to them? What are your directions to them? What is the support that you're providing for them in those days and weeks in April, May and June? Because so far I haven't heard anything either from government, but particularly from the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach. And in the absence of any realistic support for families who are facing homelessness or who are just simply facing losing their home, moving in with family and friends, overholding, etc. If there is no advice and support for government come April, then the ban on evictions needs to be extended. The purpose of the motion is to put pressure on government. That is a legitimate and reasonable thing for us to do. And it's on that basis. It's not about playing politics, it's about trying to reverse a government decision. And if particularly those independents who normally would support the government and those government backbenchers who publicly have said on the record that they support what we're calling for, if they support us, that will add additional pressure on government. The second thing is the ban on evictions does only one thing, which is it gives people a breathing space. What really matters is not the ban itself, but it's the emergency measures that government takes. And as you know, because I've said this over and over again, both last October and again last week, I've written to Eoin Ó Broin in some detail, setting out the kinds of emergency measures that he should have taken during the existing ban and would need to take if a ban was extended. If you take those measures, what will happen is less families and single people will go into emergency accommodation because you'll have a ramped up tenants in situ scheme. More families and singles will move out of emergency accommodation because you will deliver that quantum of additional social affordable homes, and that will ease the pressure. What is this crisis about immediately? It's about the fact that our emergency accommodation system is at breaking point. In many places it's full and people will have nowhere to go if and when their eviction notices fall due. So if you took those measures, you would ease the pressure. Clearly, you're not going to solve the housing crisis in this way. Solving the housing crisis requires a much broader set of measures. But I don't think anybody believes that those emergency measures outlined wouldn't have an impact, wouldn't reduce the pressure on emergency accommodation, and would then allow you to end the ban on evictions, as we're suggesting, at the end of January of next year. But crucially, after that, we have to ramp up the delivery of social affordable homes.